Mr. Peach, the only thing that I expect from this whole board is to follow the law.
Amen.
Okay, now I'm gonna tell you something. We feel like you are threatening, you are allowing people to threaten members of this board. And one member feels intimidated by what you just said.
Would you take the threat?
What you just
Take
said,
the
you were
threat,
gonna
what?
be infamous.
Infamous, that's right.
Infamous because
that's
we
not a
want,
threat.
because, infamous because you don't want us to follow the law?
Of course I want you to follow the law.
Okay, all right, and that's what we intend on doing.
Even though the-
Okay, but you allow people to try and threaten on social media, saying we
State
all.
the threat. State
The
the
threat
You
was
can't just say
made,
things
the
without
threat was
backup.
made by Mr. Edwards. Remember, they all have to live in this town. The board,
So
yes, we
what's-
do have to live in this town.
So what's the threat?
Remember, they all have to live in this town. Wouldn't you take that as a threat if I was to say that to you?
Absolutely not. Everybody, we have to
Oh,
live here.
you
We have-
wouldn't.
We
You
have
would
to be
not
nice to our
take that as a
neighbors.
threat.
We treat people fairly.
And I treat people fairly.
Well, here's our famous sheriff. How you doing there, brother? Good to see you.
See you.
So I just want you to know that I treat everybody fairly.
So these people
Okay, I
threatening you out here?
have a proven record of treating people fairly. Okay, well, this board is gonna obey the law.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%.
All right, okay? Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're, what? Okay, Mr. Page? Okay. I wanna say something. Are you still recording?
Please.
Okay, I want to say something right now. You have a newly appointed board member that is threatening to leave.
That's his right.
It's his right. Mr. Rowland, would you tell the public why you're thinking about walking out of this meeting right now before we even call the meeting
And
to
the
order?
whole thing.
Don't make the same mistake I did. Don't be intimidated by him.
Stanley,
There is
you're
a
one
whole
guy. We've
group
been
of
friends
people
all
that
our
is
lives.
sick
We're
of
not
your
saying
intimidation. You're gonna back off of all of us. Don't talk about the law enforcement. You're the one causing it. You're the one causing it. He is encouraging
Could y'all please be quiet and let Mr. Rowland speak?
You're not a Democrat.
You're not getting paid to be here today?
Hell no.
You're not making $100 to do this meeting.
No.
You're doing this for free. You are not getting paid to be a commissioner.
I'm gonna be on.
They don't have $100 each time?
You can like it or
That's
lump
what
it.
they did.
You got Democrats on here now, and y'all are gonna back
Oh,
off.
so
of us.
Susie Weekly's not a Democrat?
You got Democrats out there in the audience.
Yeah, you got Democrats out
Well,
here
you
too.
still have Democrats on here.
Yeah,
And
we
if
see
you
what
don't
kind of
think
pedo
that I'll
Biden is,
stand
just
up
saying.
for 'em, you're wrong. We're tired of your intimidation.
It's
You
not
gathering
Democrats
up
and
hearsay.
Republicans.
You
It's
talk
about
about
evil
tax
versus
and law
good.
enforcement. You're causing it.
We're all pissed. We're all pissed. James speaks for himself, not for us, but I will tell
Okay,
you, we are
all
all
right,
tired
all
of this
right.
shenanigans.
Okay,
Listen,
listen to the chairman now.
I need y'all, we are gonna remain orderly in this meeting.
Good.
I want y'all,
Don't
Mr.
worry,
Rowland,
It happened to me already.
Mr. Rowland, why do you feel like, why did you just tell me you're leaving?
Well, I feel like my property that I own in Benton County, my family that's in Benton County is in danger from Mr. Peach.
Why?
That's what he just said. What he just
Has
said.
he
He said
called
gonna
you
become
out? Has he
infamous.
threatened you?
I know, I've got a vocabulary too.
I've
John.
been called infamous myself.
Okay.
There's a whole lot
Okay,
of people that are sick of you.
I'm gonna tell you this, we have two Democrats sitting on this board, we are still a Republican short, and I will address that when I call the meeting to order. If y'all are gonna yell out, I will have y'all removed.
We know.
I have
Okay.
one question for
That
you,
is
Mr.
illegal.
Chairman.
Yes, you can call me Debbie.
Okay, Debbie,
We've never acted up.
I hesitate to say anything about your family, and we have hundreds of cousins, so I'm gonna tell you.
Well, and since you would want to talk about
But-
history, let me tell you this.
Excuse me, can you talk louder? We don't hear you out here.
Okay, before Mr. Peach says anything, Mr. Peach and I are family. Actually, his mother, him and my mother have the same birthday and were born the same day.
Praise the Lord.
Okay? All right, so go ahead.
Okay. Would you tell me who the two Republicans on the commission
I,
are?
I will in 3 more minutes, but I think that y'all pretty well know, but I will.
Who are the two Republicans?
I have Mr. Stanley Rowland and Miss Gina Beasley.
They're Democrats, but who's the two Republicans?
The 2 Republicans are myself and Janet Higdon.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
You wanna talk about who got called out 5 days in a row on
That's your
Facebook
two
for lying
Republicans.
about people? I called you out, Jerry Brandon called you out, Russell Ragsdale called you out,
So
and the
does that
state
mean you
called
were
you out.
threatening James? You
No.
called him out, you were threatening him,
No,
right? That's what
actually,
that
I
means.
didn't, miss.
That's what you just said.
I called you out, I typed a printed statement as
Is
to
that
my
not what
role.
Facebook is? You just said you called him out, and that's what you're saying you feel threatened by, is him calling you out, right?
There's a difference.
No,
I'm not
because you're a
calling-
Democrat?
I'm not
Because you're a Democrat, that's why.
That's ridiculous, if you can't come up with something better.
You
than
just
that.
said you felt threatened because he called you out, and then you just said, we called you out,
I
me
didn't-
and this
I
one, and
didn't
this one, and
call
this
her.
one.
I didn't
You
call
just
her
said,
violence
you want me to
like that.
rewind this? I can rewind
I
it.
said I called him out.
So what's the difference?
What's your point?
What makes you,
If he
because,
lies about me, I will say, please do not use my name in a misleading statement, and I will type a statement. And Jerry Brandon
So that's
will
not a
type a
threat?
statement.
That's not a threat?
No, it's not a threat, it's standing up
well, then that's not a
against
threat when
such-
he says it's
such
gonna
lies.
be infamous, because it's the truth.
I didn't say that was a threat to me, it was Stanley took it as a threat.
Well, this is the flavor, this is the corruption flavor. Oh, I'm gonna take my toy and go home because you've offended us. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's why I'm the one sitting in the seat.
I usually call me the day before. We're on our way.
I brought them down and get paid for these meetings.
I don't know.
That's what I thought, they do get paid. They get paid for this, so she just lied.
Don't let him do it to me, please.
Because they're gonna have to go ask for more
Madam
money
Chairman,
for all
it's
these
10
meetings
o'clock.
they're gonna have in our quarter.
What about all the law?
All right, we're gonna call this meeting to order, okay? All right, I would like a roll call vote. Janet Higdon.
Here.
Stanley Rowland.
Here.
Gina Beasley.
Here. Debbie Powell.
Okay, here. Okay, now, would y'all stand? We're gonna do the invocation and then remain standing. We're gonna do the Pledge of Allegiance, and there's a flag on that door over there. Okay. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful day. Thank you for everything that you give us each and every day. Please be with all those, Lord, that is sick and afflicted. Lord, I ask for healing. I ask for you to touch them. Please forgive us for our trespasses, Lord, and please just continue to guide us, lead us in the directions you would have us to go. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And the flag is on that door over there. Her shirt's over here is a good flag too. Yeah. I didn't even see that. Okay, let it, Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to read the letter of resignation that was sent to me on Wednesday, June the 16th at 10:49 a.m. This is from Russell Ragsdale. It reads, "It is with regret that I feel I must resign from the Benton County Election Commission after such a short time. The atmosphere created by Mark Ward's supporters has caused me to be concerned about my continuing becoming an issue with the church that I pastor, and will affect my ability to be effective in that role. The time required to deal with a multitude of issues is also causing a strain on my marriage. Thank you for the opportunity, and I wish things had been different. Thank you, Russell Ragsdale. Okay, this is not on the agenda, but I'm gonna go ahead and introduce the members, the Democratic members that were appointed yesterday.
We were approved at the state yesterday.
They were approved at the state yesterday. I have Stanley Rowland to my right and Gina Beasley to my left. Okay? We have Janet Higdon, and y'all know who I am. Okay? So we're gonna go on with the meeting. The first order of business, we need to elect a secretary of the election commission, and that has to be a Democrat. So I will take motions off the floor of anybody.
Motion to elect Gina Beasley.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to elect Gina Beasley as the secretary, and a second, motion by Janet Higgins, second by Stanley Rowland. Okay, we'll need a roll call vote. Okay?
I'm supposed to vote.
Yeah. Okay, so, Janet Higdon,
Yes.
Stanley Rowland,
Yes.
Debbie Kyle, yes. Unanimous approval. Okay, next on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. The Benton County election, this is from the May 27th meeting, that I believe most of y'all were here, or several of you were here. Benton County Election Commission met on May the 27th, 2021. Chairman Debbie Kyle called the meeting to order. The previous minutes were read by Russell Ragsdale. Janet Higdon moved the motion to be approved, seconded by Russell Ragsdale. The minutes were unanimously approved. Chairman Kyle opened the floor to the public for comments. Christy Baldwin, Cindy Wheatley, Bruce Griffey, and Randy Shannon spoke. Mark Ward presented the administrator's report. This included updates on redistricting, list maintenance, and dates for upcoming elections. The commission inspected recent voter registrations. Janet Higdon made a motion to adjourn. Russell Ragsdale seconded. Motion passed unanimously. The meeting was adjourned, and this is Russell Ragsdale, acting secretary, in the absence of Democratic representation.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Motion by Higdon.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rowland. Need a roll call vote, so I'll let you go ahead and do the roll call.
And second.
Seconded by Mr. Rowland.
Debbie Kyle.
Yes.
Does somebody need to call her name?
You can just call her.
Yes. Unanimous.
Oh, you'll need to call it.
I thought you called her, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you'll call since you took over.
Higdon.
Yes.
Hi, Angela.
We're at the point where the charges are.
Okay, so we've approved our minutes from our previous meeting, all of them, it was unanimous. Okay, next on our agenda is commission comments. This is the time if anybody on the commission has any questions or wants to make a comment of any kind.
It's been asked that I read into the minutes the portion that hasn't been published in the Chronicle for the public to read, the
Okay.
first 5 charges. So I'm gonna read a letter from the State Election Commission.
Can y'all
from
hear
June
her?
9th.
No.
Everybody understand?
Don't be afraid to talk.
No, not really. Is that, let me ask a
There's a
question, is that mic
microphone right
on? Is that mic on?
Yes, that goes to the Facebook Live stream.
We received a letter on June 8th from the State Election Commission in reference to,
Please speak up. Well,
No, the mic's working, it's just there's no speakers in this room.
okay.
There's no speakers in this room.
Right,
The
that microphone
video
goes
will
to
pick it
online,
up,
not.
whatever I say.
Gina, I guess try and talk as loud as you can.
Okay.
But since I'm here, I'm not gonna hear it.
There's no speakers for it.
I'd like to hear it, please.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Excuse me, we cannot hear out here. I mean, it's just.
It's gonna be in the Chronicle. It's going to be published in the Chronicle soon.
Well, no, we want to.
I don't vote
hear
in
it.
the call. I don't vote in the
If
call.
I want to say something, I need to hear it here, not in the Chronicle.
Please. And you need to read
Hear
it
us, we
thoroughly.
need to be able to hear you.
Stay.
Okay,
Not that
hang,
hard.
okay, hang on for just 1 second, okay?
Okay, I'm gonna try to read this to you.
Talk loud, please.
Okay. I get Mr. Shannon here to read it. I can hear him very well. Okay, this is dated June the 8th, 2021. It's addressed to Mark Ward, Administrator of Elections, Benton County Election Commission, 113 Maple Avenue, Suite 1, Camden, Tennessee. In reference to State Election Commission meeting on June the 14th, 2021 at 12 p.m., additional allegation for show cause hearing. Dear Mr. Ward, on May the 4th, 2021, you received a notice of hearing under Tennessee Code annotated 2-11-202, parentheses A, 18 parentheses, C parentheses, to respond to 5 allegations being brought before the State Election Commission, SEC, to revoke your certification or otherwise discipline you as a certified administrator of elections. The show cause hearing is scheduled for Monday, June the 14th at 12 noon to be held at the Rosa L. Parks Avenue, 3rd floor, Nashville, Tennessee, in the Nashville room of the William R. Snodgrass, Tennessee Tower. Coordinator of Elections, Mark Goins, discussed the potential of an additional allegation to be considered by the State Election Commission with Dr. Randy Shannon, your legal counsel, by phone on Tuesday, June the 1st. In that conversation, Dr. Shannon agreed that you would not seek a continuance of the June 14th hearing if only one additional allegation was added. The 5 allegations for which you received notice in that May 4th, 2021 letter are as follows. 1, failing to timely process voter registrations. 2, failing to perform required list maintenance duties to maintain accurate voter registration records. 3, falsely accusing the State Election Commission members of improperly appointing county election commissioners. And 4th, demonstrating partiality at the November 18th, 2019 Benton County Commission meeting. And 5, illegally advising the Benton County Provisional Ballot Counting Board not to count one or more legally cast provisional ballots. After reviewing the poll official records and the Benton County Election Commission minutes, multiple additional violations were found in the minutes of the Benton County Election Commission. But as agreed, only one will be added in order to proceed with Monday's hearing. The notice is to advise you of a 6th allegation being brought before the SEC during the already scheduled show cause hearing. Specifically, the allegation is for failure to ensure the proper appointment of election officials during the election process, and the allegation is described as follows. Number 6, failure to ensure the proper appointment of election officials during the election process. Statutory duty, Tennessee Code annotated 2-12-201, parentheses 12, states that one of the duties of the AOE is the following: having knowledge of all current laws pertaining to the election process and any changes mandated by the General Assembly, and apprising the Election Commission, office staff, candidate, the press, and the public in general of this information. Tennessee Code annotated 2-4-105, parentheses A, states the following: as nearly as practicable, no more than 1/2 of the number of election officials at a polling place and no more than 1/2 of the whole number of inspectors may be members of the same political party. In applying the rule of this section to inspectors whose appointment is required by 2-4-102 shall not be counted. Tennessee Code annotated 2-7-138 states the following: the officer of elections accompanied by either a judge or precinct registrar or another political party shall immediately deliver the locked ballot box or boxes and remaining election supplies or equipment except the voting machines to the County Election Commission. Tennessee Code annotated 2-6-302B states the following: if the County Election Commission determines that there are fewer than 100 absentee ballots to be counted, the County Election Commission may act as a central absentee ballot counting board without additional compensation. To ensure election integrity, an AOE must be non-biased in action and words. Tennessee Code Annotated 2-1-111 states the following: each person charged with the administration of any part of the election laws of this state shall, before entering upon the performance of such duties, take the following oath. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Tennessee, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of my office. Allegation. In an April 22, 2021 article in the Camden Chronicle, when discussing the changes you made to the Benton County Election Office when becoming the AOE in 2009, you are quoted as saying, I immediately implemented safeguards for fair elections, including separate keys for each party's separate ballot boxes and voting equipment, equal representation between parties at each polling facility, and hiring a Democratic Party representative to work in the election office during any aspect of an active election to ensure integrity. Although there is a similar pattern for other elections, the simplicity we will focus on August the 2nd, 2018 and November the 3rd, 2020 elections to demonstrate the alleged violations. The records August 2nd, 2018 and November 3rd, 2020 elections reflect a failure to appoint election day poll officials, computer technicians, and machine technicians on a bipartisan basis. Based on the poll official records, the political party breakdown of the poll officials is as follows. August 2018, Precinct 2. The poll official records reflect 5 out of 6 officials who were appointed to represent the Republican Party. The 6th person voted in the Republican primary on August the 2nd, 2018, the election in which she served. Precinct 6. Although the poll official records provided by you designate 3 out of the 7 poll officials who worked to represent the Democratic Party, the voter history of 2 of the 3 workers reflect that they voted in the most recent federal and state Republican primaries and voted in the Republican primary on August the 2nd, 2018. The election in which they served, similarly, the 3rd person appointed to represent the Democratic Party voted in the Republican primary on August 2nd, 2018. The election in which he served. Computer tech. Although the poll official records provided by you designate 1 out of 2 computer techs who worked represent the Democratic Party, the voter history for the person designated as a Democratic computer technician reflects he voted in the Republican primaries in 4 out of the last 5 elections, including the 2018 and 2020 primary elections. Machine tech. The list of machine technicians reflect 4 of 5 machine technicians represented the Republican Party. November 2020, Precinct 4, the poll official records provided by you reflect that all 6 of the 6 officials who worked were appointed to represent the Republican Party. Precinct 5, the poll official records provided by you reflect 6 out of 7 election officials who were appointed to represent the Republican Party. The voter history reflects that the person designated to represent the Democratic Party voted in the Republican primary August the 6th, 2020. Precinct 6. The poll official records provided by you reflect that 6 of 8 officials who worked were appointed to represent the Republican Party. Although the poll official records reflect that 1 poll official was appointed to represent the Democratic Party, the voter history of the worker reflects that she voted in the last 3 Republican primaries, including August 6, 2020. The other worker just started voting in Benton County and does not have any prior primary election history. Computer tech. Although the poll officials' records provided by you designated 1 out of 2 computer techs who worked to represent the Democratic Party. The voter history for the person designated as a Democratic Party technician reflects he voted in Republican primaries in 4 out of the last 5 elections, including 2018 and 2020. Machine Tech list of machine technicians reflects 3 of the 4 machine technicians representing the Republican Party. The 4th person was consistently voted in federal and state Republican primaries for the last 3 years and does not appear on either a Republican or Democratic workers list. Without having at least one Democratic election official at these polling places, the officer of elections could not have been accompanied by an election official of a different political party as required by Tennessee Code annotated 2-7-138. Based on voting records, the computer technician listed for the August 2018, November 2020 were both Republicans. For the November 2020 election, all 4 machine technicians were Republicans. For the August 2018 election, out of the 5 machine technicians who served for this election, there was only 1 Democratic machine technician. As the quote of the Camden Chronicle article indicates, having bipartisan representation of each polling place ensures integrity in the election process. The absence of such bipartisan representation may cause candidates and voters of the different political party that is not represented to question the fairness of the election process and the trustworthiness of the election results. By your own words in the April 2nd, 2021 Camden Chronicle article, the lack of equal representation between parties at each polling facility comprises the integrity of the election process, if not in fact, then by law and by public perception. Your understanding of the importance of having bipartisan representation in the election process is made clear through minutes of Benton County Election Commission in the April 14, 2006 Election Commission meetings prior to your appointment as an election commissioner. You attended a BCEC meeting and advanced advocated for poll workers to be equally divided between Democrats and Republicans. According to the minutes, you cautioned the Benton County Election Commission that this was not addressed, that there would be some form of legal action filed. Then during the August 12, 2008 election meeting, in which you served as an election commissioner, you advocated for the AOE to contact the officers to make sure that the election commission would have both parties present during the transport of the JBCs to and from the polls. Your insistence for this measure was either based on your understanding of Tennessee Code Annotated 2-7-138 or your sense of fairness, or both. Whichever your basis, you demonstrated a knowledge that bipartisan representation is needed when transporting election materials on election night. Yeah, excuse me. Not used to talking this long. This is about a week's worth of talking for me. During the August 2018 and November 2020 elections, you did not ensure that there is bipartisan representation in each polling place and in the representation of the computer technician and machine technician. Also, during the August 6, 2020 and November 3rd, 2020 election, no election officials were appointed to establish separate absentee counting boards, even though under the law separate absentee counting boards were required. Based on the minutes of meetings held by the Benton County Election Commission on August the 6th and November the 3rd, the Election Commission counted the absentee ballots for each election. On August the 6th, the Commission counted 175 mail-in votes, and on November the 6th, the Commission counted 170 counted. Just a moment. On November 3rd, the Commission counted 433 countywide and 47 city mail-in votes. However, the Election Commission may only serve as to absentee vote counting board when there are fewer than 100 absentee ballots to be counted. If there are 100 or more, the Election Commission must appoint a separate counting board. It is your responsibility to have knowledge of the laws pertaining to the counting of absentee ballots and apprise the election commission appropriately.
Yes.
As the administrator, you were aware of how many absentee ballots the Benton County Election Commission had received. For these elections, you should have advised your election commission that a separate counting board would be required for each election to ensure an adequate number of election officials to conduct the election. Additionally, after further review of the provisional ballots from 2018 at issue in the allegation 5, one was cast in the August election and one was cast in the November election, rather than both having been cast in the November election. The second paragraph of allegation 5 is revised as follows. A provisional vote should be counted where there is evidence that a voter timely attempted to register prior to the voter registration deadline. In the 2018 election cycle, at least 2 voters, one in August and one in November, had transactions with agencies offering voter registration and indicated that they wanted to register. The August voter received no votes history for the election, indicating the vote was not counted. The same is true for the November voter, further supported by the statistics you submitted through 2018 election administration and voting survey. Dr. Randy Shannon, the legal counsel for this hearing, is being copied on this notice of the additional allegation being brought to the SEC on June 14, 2021. Should you have any questions, please submit please submit them in writing to Kathy Summers at 10.gov. Sincerely, Kathy Summers, election specialist.
Madam Chair, as this pertains to that legal proceeding, I feel that I should ask the question, why was this read into the record?
Because the secretary wanted it, she wanted it read, and I think they wanted it included in our minutes for today.
And it
So,
was voted on at state level. It was voted on. It was heard and it was voted on.
Well, the State Election Commission made this, the only finding the State Election Commission makes is whether or not Mr. Ward retains his certification. They did not find on any allegation a specific finding of fact.
But this is the part that the public has not had access to.
They absolutely did have access to it.
It's not been in the
That has
Chronicle.
been, well, now, whether or not it's in the Chronicle, ma'am, I'm not gonna get into an argument about that. But, ma'am, as it has to do with the legal representation, that's why I'm asking the question, and that's why I feel I should be fully heard on this issue. Because if that was put in as a matter of, that these are asserted as facts of finding against my client, then that I'm strenuously objecting to the fact that there was no finding of fact. There was simply the finding of he is not certified anymore. If we want, and Madam Secretary, I would request that you put that objection into the minutes if you want to have this done. Because we cannot say that that is a finding of fact.
Do you support the idea?
Please, okay, allow Mr. Shannon, Dr. Shannon, and, okay,
Mr. Rutland.
Mr. Rowland.
The finding that Mark Goins had in the Tennessee Chronicle, you saying all of those charges are false?
I'm saying that the state board of the State Election Commission, Mr. Goins doesn't make any findings at all. So the State Election Commission took a vote, and this was their vote, 6-1 to decertify Mr. Ward as they make no finding of fact.
Political parties.
They make no finding of fact.
Political parties on the election commission made that vote, whether Democrats or.
I'm not here to debate that again.
I would like, if you don't mind me addressing that, I do want what Mr. Shannon said to be put in the record. They did not find anything on any of the 6 items. They didn't go into detail, they didn't ask a question, they didn't even listen to Mr. Shannon when he was speaking. All they did was let him say his spiel.
The question was, is he to retain his certification or not? And that was a vote of 6-1.
That was the only vote they
Okay.
took that day, not on any allegation. They didn't make
So
a
there was
vote
no
on any
finding of
allegation.
facts. This is not a court of law in which there's a finding of facts. It's a
Okay,
defined order.
I was there at the meeting and they presented all this evidence and then you represented Mr. Ward. So, you know, I understand what you're saying, but, you know, and I'm gonna read this letter that was.
Let me go finish where
Go
we're
right
at right
ahead,
here, if
go
you
right
don't
ahead,
mind.
go right ahead.
I'm gonna give you all a list of the Republican workers. I'm gonna tell y'all how it actually works, instead of the way it was read by Mr. Goldman and the,
I would defer to Debbie, the chairman, and the rest of you guys, whether it's in the minutes. My main concern is that the
Well,
public
this is something that's come
aware.
before the body. It has to be in the minutes, ma'am.
So
It's
I'm
not
not,
your decision.
whatever
It's
you
in the
guys,
minutes.
whatever you guys.
Okay, this is an official body.
Okay.
This is being presented in an official capacity. You brought up issues that had to do with his defense. I was perfectly happy to stay quiet during all of this, but when you read that into the minutes, then I
We
won't.
haven't voted it into the minutes yet. At this point, we have not taken a roll call vote on adding this to the minutes. But the
this is
public has at least
the
gotten
last
to
election
hear.
that we had. This is up to date as of right now.
And they had a chance to already hear it on Facebook and the state election
Yeah,
commission side.
that's asking a bit much. Equal, we need to put out.
Yeah, this
equal
one we started last
publications.
year. But that's the one we used for all of them in 2020.
Okay,
I
I'm
want,
gonna allow Mark to speak.
I want everybody to understand, the allegations that was brought forth by Mark Goins is a personal vendetta against me. It was because I went and spoke to the Secretary of State about some stuff that Mark Goins was doing. And it made him so mad that he started looking for some stuff that he could decertify me from. First he made a meeting with Bruce Griffey and John Stevens in 2018. This meeting happened in 2017 when I went and talked to Trey Hargett. But he called a meeting with Bruce Griffey and John Stevens directly after that and asked if they would change my board so they could get rid of me. It didn't happen. Stand-up guy, he says, Mark's not done anything. You know, he may have made you mad because he said something to your boss, but he has not done anything wrong. He's running the election commission right. Well, 2 more years down the road, he finds out we've got a mayor that don't like me and wants to replace me. So that's what they've conspired to do behind the scenes, and it didn't happen. How many commissioners have we went through to try to find ones that will get rid of me? Over 3 months now.
I
And
resigned due to pressure.
Let me speak, please.
Well, you can speak for me. I'm
Over
gonna
3
speak
months
up.
now. He didn't ever get it done, so he had to have this show cause hearing, he felt like. These allegations, I want Mr. Shannon and I to answer any question you have about them, but this one that Mr. Rowland was just reading about the workers, the way the workers are brought up to me, the administrator, is each party's asked before every election to give me Democrat workers and Republican workers.
Right.
They're given to the board. We've got board members here from all the way back in 2009. Those names are given to the board. The Democrat people and the Republican people look at them. They approve those workers for me to use. You're not registered as a Democrat or a Republican in Tennessee, so therefore I don't have a list that says Democrat or Republican.
But you have a primary.
Let me finish, please. I have a list from the Democrat Party. The Democrat members and Republican members on the board approve them. I divide those up and use them at the polling places. One that really upset me was saying that we didn't have computer techs. Mike Stockdale's done this for as many years as I can remember. How he votes, I don't know. I use the names that I'm given by the parties. That's who those parties say, this is who I want to represent.
Check your very minutes there. You will find that in the 2020 election, that you had the chair of the Democratic Party in the meeting in which they were deciding who the workers would be.
That's correct. We always send a letter to the party chairs, both of them, and they come to the meetings. We get the workers. Those are the workers we use. Now, Mark Goins put a different strenuous set of rules in this meeting. He said that he looked up each one of these voters individually. He spent the time to go through every one of my poll workers and looked up their voting record, and if they voted Republican, he said they was Republican representatives.
And they're not only poll workers, Mr. Ward, these are poll workers that we have known for years, that have helped conduct elections for years. These are people that we know. I don't expect the State Election Commission to know who these people are, but Mr. Rowland was one of them, volunteered his time,
That's
was
right.
not even on the list. Others of you may have worked in the election as well. These are people we know, we love, we trust.
So
So
if the
let's not get caught up in, oh, they didn't vote in that primary, but they did vote over here.
That's nowhere
That's
in
their
the law.
business.
That's
That's
nowhere
not
in the
in the
law.
law.
There's nowhere in the rules. We're
So
doing it
that
by law.
allegation in its entirety has to be dismissed. Go read the law for yourself. When you read the law, you will find, just as I pointed out in his defense, that each and every law has exceptions to it, where it is practical, where it is possible, where you can do this, where it's feasible. You have to have the exceptions, and I made the very large point of, if we did not have enough workers, should we not have the election? And I'm serious. And you've got.
I want Randy to read this in a minute, but I want to read y'all what we deal with and what you're going to be dealing with in the future elections. Is we were in COVID. We were having people afraid to work. We were short already. I have asked every meeting that we've had in the past before an election, please get me some more Democrat workers.
That's right.
We got 80% of the people in Benton County voting Republican. It's very hard to get Democrat workers. Stanley signed a sworn affidavit that I didn't have a machine tech that was Democrat. I didn't just say send a Republican.
Several times.
I've called Stanley. I've called Sam Rainwaters when he's not on the election. I've called Gary Furr. I've called whoever I can to get them to ride and do these machines. And he knows it. Stanley's right here with us. I've done that on every aspect. But here's the law. Even though I've done that, I went above and beyond what other counties are doing. And I wish y'all would call other counties and find out how they're doing it. Because what Mark Goins has put out here is nothing but a bunch of fluff to try to make y'all think I'm doing something wrong, just because he got his feelings hurt.
That's right.
He got his feelings
This
hurt.
is a witch hunt, the whole
That's right.
thing was
Absolutely.
a witch hunt, and you're totally
Absolutely.
innocent. And even though
Yes,
the
ma'am.
state has voted
Absolutely.
3 Democrats and 3 Republicans.
Yes, ma'am.
You got it.
that you
That's what
should
I'm
be
saying.
decertified.
100%.
We, as local people, should come in and overrule their
No,
opinion.
you as local people should read the law. And y'all said you're gonna follow the law. Hold on just a second. We're talking about poll workers here. For election officials, inspectors, as nearly as practical, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What is as nearly as practical?
And you can go read
Not-
others.
Not more than 1/2 of the number of election officials shall be Democrat or Republican. As nearly as practical. That leaves the law wide open.
And then, Mr. Rowland, did you work during the COVID election?
He
No,
couldn't.
I did not. I did
Because
not.
you didn't feel
What
it.
COVID did, I didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I was
And
there.
how many more were that way? But yet, ma'am, and sir, and other members of the commission, you had an election.
If I might ask, did you call on your commission to help fill those spots?
Yes.
Yes.
You called on your Democrats to fill
Yes,
your
absolutely.
election commission?
Yes.
And did you check your voting records and look?
Absolutely not. That's not my job.
You can't, that's like a customer can walk in and look on your.
Hold on just a second. Let me finish my train of thought if you don't mind. I can tell you already got your mind made up, and that's fine. The people at the state
I'm
did
a
too.
Democrat,
But I
yes,
wish
and I
that,
read the charges. and
Well,
I
did
heard
you
the
read the law?
charges. I did, and I
Let
don't
me
see
say
it
this,
the same
Debbie.
way.
judges to be of different political parties. This is the election law that I go by. I go by these rules. I've made it I've not made any bones about it from day one. You even read, they even put that in there, that in 2009, I said what I did. And I did. I put people in, they were not doing that before. You know that. And we come in here and we make sure it was representation by both parties. Cindy Wheatley and Russell King are outstanding Democrats. They've been in here numerous hours trying to let us get workers from their party. Dana, go ahead and read this right now, Randy. This is a sworn affidavit from Dana Ferguson, the Democrat Party chairlady.
This has to do with how the people were chosen. It says, I understand as Democrat Sheriff of Benton County. In this position, I've had occasion and had conversation with State Election Commissioner Greg Duckett regarding the appointment of Democrat members to the Benton County Election Commission. In our conversations, I've submitted the names of Russell King and Cynthia Wheatley. I was told by Mr. Duckett that these two names weren't acceptable because they were for retaining Mark Ward as Administrator of Elections in Benton County. I've also asked questions of Mr. Duckett about whether I've had any knowledge regarding how Mr. Ward came to have his house that he currently lives in and all the rental property that he owns. given the current state of Mr. King's health, I would like to replace his name with Stanley Rowland and Cynthia Wheatley as the two Democrat representatives of the Benton County Election Commission. And you can also find Ms. Ferguson was in the meeting in 2020 when they were getting ready to go into the August and November election cycle. And the point that we're making is that when there's no finding of fact, they just simply voted. That was their prerogative. They had every legal right to do what they did, and they did. I don't believe personally that they had a legal basis to do it on in terms of the allegations that were made. We presented a defense that, did you watch that defense, ma'am? And I hope these two were there because they were on the commission. I hope Mr. Rowland has had a chance to watch it. But as you were...
I have trouble understanding. I can understand you, but I couldn't understand the other people.
At the end of the day, it was how it was.
That's
And
right.
just read
They were
how the polls
they
were
were
worked.
decertified,
No,
and that's
I'm
all that
going
was
back to
happening.
how the polls were worked. He just read you, at the end of the day, whoever said what, their voting records show how the polls were worked.
But that's not the way
That
you
is
choose,
black and
that's not the
white.
way you choose a poll worker, is all I'm saying. If y'all are gonna follow that, I really do hope that y'all can,
If I can go on to my next question.
I'm not
since
finished with
we're-
mine, with
well,
what I'm asking, if you
I have a
don't
question,
mind.
and we didn't say that you get to speak the entire time.
I'm right in the middle of something though.
We
The
have-
judges are
Let
two
her
different,
finish and then,
the judges of two political parties. This is 2-4-104. No more than two judges at a polling place may be of the same political party if persons from different political parties are willing to serve. That is the law. If they're willing to serve.
If.
I've begged for workers, begged.
right.
You
every,
didn't call me. You didn't invite
I'm not
somebody
supposed to.
volunteer.
You're
You didn't
Democrat.
invite somebody
Hey,
volunteer.
listen, David, can we keep her in check, please?
I wanna close this.
Hold on, just one second, I'm not
Go right
finished with
ahead.
this. The county election commission shall appoint such nominees as election officials. I'm answering your question right here. I don't do that. The county election commission shall appoint nominees as election officials to meet the requirements of the law. But when there's inadequate numbers given to the administrator, the county election commission may nominate additional persons as necessary. In other words, the parties give the nominees to the election commission. If there's insufficient numbers, we have to pick who we can. Stanley knows that. I still try to get people from both parties. And we've always done that. Just because their voting record says that they pulled a Republican ballot, how many Republican workers, if Mark Owens had done his due diligence and pulled the Republican side too, we wouldn't have had a single Republican worker that hadn't voted Democrat. I'll guarantee you. I voted Democrat before.
And I also know this to be a fact, because I know that people have voted, who were always been Democrat, voted Republican, because they wanted to vote for this man right here
Yep.
in the primary election. They wanted their voice heard.
Right.
If
And
you
they had
follow-
every right to do that under Tennessee law.
If you follow these strict guidelines that I'm being told that I've done wrong on, which I have not, I followed the way it's, the law and the procedure to the T. I have followed it, but if you follow the rules that Mark Goins has set up for y'all, you won't have another election in Benton County. You won't have a single poll worker that's
It's gonna be
gonna work.
hard.
Madam Chair, Madam President.
Okay,
Commissioner.
listen, these are all the minutes that were in the county clerk's office, that were filed in the county clerk's office. The oldest one, it was 9 pages, 9 minutes in the county clerk's office, Wanda Malin. This is all that she has. The first one is from their April 2017 meeting. The last one is from the March 9th, 2021 meeting. This is all that she has.
What are you talking about?
And I'm talking about the minutes that are filed in Wanda Malin's office.
They have the minutes here.
Yeah, we
Okay,
have them
but-
here by law.
They're here.
Okay. I
And Mr.
understand.
Goins
I-
specifically came.
They-
I-
they
I-
made
I-
800 and some copies of.
I
Mr.
understand,
Goins
but
came-
I don't have access to the
But
minutes
what
of that
was the
meeting.
chairman of this
I'm just saying.
Madam
The
Chair,
chairman's got access when you come in this office.
Madam Chair, point of order. When the
Okay,
coordinator of
no,
elections,
Mr. Shannon, okay,
But when he
listen,
came
we
here-
are not,
but when he
Don't-
came here, Coordinator Goins came to this office to read the minutes.
I stood right there as they were
So
making
you know
copies
that
and
they are here,
watching.
ma'am.
I
And that's all
understand,
I point
but,
out.
okay, I went to
And
the.
I will be
co-
quiet and thank you for the time, ma'am.
You're welcome. I went to the clerk's office because being on the commission, What I have always been told is that all boards and committee meetings are to be filed with the clerk's office.
I can answer that for you.
Okay?
We send them to the mayor's office. What he does with them, I do not know. Listen, we keep the originals required by law. The minutes of all meetings are kept here. Mark Goins come and make copies of it. Took him 2.5 hours, 800 pages of stuff. You was
I was
here.
here. Yes, I
You know
was.
the minutes are here, so saying something like that is a slap in the face. It's
I'm
just like all these
saying
other
this. I'm
accusations.
just saying that.
It's just like all these other accusations.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna allow you 3 minutes.
He's our
to
state
get
representative.
ready to answer questions.
He's elected.
Yeah. I'm the highest elected state official here, okay? What Mark Ward has told you about the differences between Mr. Ward and Mr. Goins are exactly accurate. He came to Senator Stevens and I 2 years ago, and he said he's not happy with performance in Benton County. Would we consider changing people out? I said, I'm very happy with Mark Ward. Everybody I talked to is very happy with Mark Ward. I checked with the GOP commissioners. Everybody was happy. So nothing was done at that point. Then, apparently someone, and Mr. Key was involved, got with Mayor Lashley to submit names. And they submitted names to Senator Stevens. I objected to those names because I was going back with what the GOP party had indicated to me. I think the mayor and Mr. Key actually probably did a disservice to Senator Stevens by doing that process rather than going through the GOP county commissioner, and Chairman Matthew Jones is here. He can verify everything I told you about that. This has been a political battle between Mr. Goins and Mr. Ward, and Mr. Ward's performance as the AOE for Benton County has been exemplary. And Dr. Shannon is exactly right. The board hear these charges and the responses, but there was no finding of facts as what was true or not. They just took a vote as to decertification or not. And what is very telling to me is the GOP chair of the State Election Commission, Judy Blackburn, voted against decertifying Mark Ward. And if you're going to find somebody that is overwhelmingly violated or not lived up to the standard, you'd think it would be a unanimous decision by the board. And because it wasn't, that tells me that the board has let politics infect what they're doing and their evaluation of this situation. And in closing, I think what's really important is for Benton County, we all know each other around here. We know that Mark Ward has done a good job. He's a fair man. He goes out of his way to treat both sides fairly in these contested elections. So I would encourage the board, and if the new members would be honest, I kind of wonder if they would answer questions for me. Were you told as part of your condition of being appointed that you had to vote to remove Mark Ward? I think that's a fair question to ask. So, and I would encourage you, don't fall into that political gamesmanship. Do what's right for Benton County and keep Mark Ward.
Mr. Thompson just pointed at me. Okay, and I take it you want me to answer that question, right?
I would like for all the board to answer that
Okay,
question.
all right. No, nobody has asked me anything about Mark Ward
Hey,
at any time.
Let me ask one question. Let me just ask one question. Have any of y'all talked to each other about what's going on in this meeting today outside of a meeting?
No.
No?
No, because I give him a
Did you and Janet not ask him to do an audit of the computers?
No.
And-
No,
Absolutely not.
absolutely not.
Day of the last meeting, I was in the meeting.
And it wasn't in the meeting because it's not in the minutes, and that's why I'm asking. You're telling me that y'all haven't discussed any of this stuff. How did this meeting come about?
I put it in the paper.
No, I mean, how did you decide you wanted a meeting? Because it's not a regularly scheduled
Do you
meeting.
know when I put this in the paper?
I
The
don't know. You
day-
never told me.
The day that we went for the show call.
So you and Gina hadn't talked about this at
We're
all?
chasing rabbits.
No.
There's
You've
some
not
more
talked to Gina?
important questions.
No, I haven't, Mark.
Have you?
Okay,
No.
listen.
Listen,
We are getting off the
No.
subject here.
it's pretty much the subject.
Okay, I answered my question. I answered the question that Mr. Thompson, okay, if the other board members would like to Mr. Griffey, Representative Griffey asked a question, if y'all would like to answer him.
Ms. Beasley, would you answer my question of whether
I
there's
wanna
been any
ask you a
discussions about?
question. No,
Would you
there
answer my
hasn't.
question
There
first?
hasn't. There hasn't.
Greg Duckett or no one indicated to you, anybody that they want to remove Mark Ward or vote against Mark Ward is
I was submitted as the commissioner through the local Democratic Party chair, Dana Ferguson. Dana has had access to my comments for several months. She knows I'm a Democrat, that's all.
Has there been any discussion between you and Mr. Duckett or anybody else about removing Mark Ward as being a member of this commission?
No,
Okay.
I'm not a brainless, non-thinking
No one made that,
zombie.
no one made that accusation. I was simply just,
question.
can I ask?
Well, I waited a really long time. Okay.
Well, I had to
Aside
finish
from-
my question first, that's why if he answers, then you can answer me questions.
Okay.
Ask me questions.
What's your question?
Has anyone with Mark Duckett, State Election Commission, Democrat chair, discussed removing Mark Ward as part of your being appointed to? Okay. Fair enough, thank you, appreciate that.
Now,
you
my
wanted to ask me
question
something?
is, aside from the hearing and the back and forth, who did this, who did that, do you agree that there is a code of conduct that governs our election commissioners and our election administrator?
Yes, yes.
There is a code of conduct.
Well, every state official,
Okay.
county official, supposed to,
Okay.
you know.
Okay, and there is in there that they're not supposed to show partisanship as in attending rallies and backing specific candidates. Would that not also include trying to overturn the presidential election and attending the enrollment? How would y'all listen, how would you expect
She's asking a
Democrat
question.
voters in this county to feel to walk into a voting place where the administrator and other people affiliated with our voting attended a stop the steal in order to try to stop the certifications of the vote?
I would
Is
think
that not
every,
breaking the
I
code
would,
of conduct?
I would think every Democratic and Republican voter, would agree that we want full transparency on each and every election. And if there's questions
That's
as to
not what I
how,
asked
you're
you.
not letting me finish it. If there's
Hold
if there's
please.
questions as to how an election was carried out and how votes were counted and how ballots were submitted, we ought to all agree as Americans, we want to know, we want free and fair elections, and that's why it's so important to have
Hey, I don't mind answering your question, Gina.
I wanted his answer to see if he's
Okay.
okay with you breaking the code of conduct.
Well, you gotta know that I did first, and what you're saying is not true.
What?
You're saying that I did what?
You went
What
to
did you
DC
say?
Capitol, you went to the DC
I
Capitol.
went
on
to a
January
rally, but
6th.
not to the Capitol.
You
Listen to
told
me,
me
let me
you did.
finish. I went to hear Trump's speech, but he was not on the ballot. It says in the law that I can't go to a rally for someone on the ballot, or I can't, put out signs and all that stuff.
So-
The election was over. There was not even an election for a year and a half.
So why did you go to the Capitol?
I went to hear Trump speak because he was out, and I wanted to hear him speak
And
in
even
person.
though he left?
Because
and
while
I
he
didn't
was on the
go,
ballot, I could not go to his rallies.
Even though he had
But that's
left
not
the
what we're talking about
premises.
here
Yes,
today.
it is. It weighs into the Democrat standpoint on this. You followed him.
Wow, but I
No,
didn't think
I
you
didn't.
And you went to the Capitol.
I
And you
did not.
stood on the steps of a signed affidavit. You told me out of your
Well,
own mouth that you stood
I
on the
was in
steps of the
DC, but I
Capitol.
did, what did you say first? You said I attended some kind of insurrection or something.
I didn't say that.
What was the word you used?
Some of the locals were
Steal
calling it
something?
stop the steal.
See, I had nothing to do with that. No, we went
Did
to,
you- I don't care
I did
what
go
you-
to the speeches.
Miss Beasley, if
Did
you
you go
apply,
to the Capitol and stand on the steps on January 6th with some of your local?
I did not go to the
friends?
Capitol and go in the Capitol or any
I
of that
didn't
stuff.
say you
Well,
went
that's what
inside.
Stop the Steal
Did you
was.
go to the Capitol and stand on the steps?
You-
Why
you're-
won't
you're-
you answer the question?
You're trying to put words in my mouth, and I'll not let you do
told
it.
me. You stayed there till
I'll not
4:30.
let you put words in my
No,
mouth.
you know
Madam
what
Chair,
you're saying.
Madam Chair, Ms. Beasley, if you apply your logic, then all the Davidson County election administrators that took money from Mark Zuckerberg's
No.
programs and so forth, would be engaging in partisan politics.
No.
And they would be
It's
banned from
against-
doing that.
It's against
But
his
that's the
rules of
same,
conduct.
but it's the same standard you're trying to use against one person as a sword, but then use it as a shield against the folks from your party.
We're not dealing with those people today. We're dealing with the.
You're trying to impose a standard, are you not?
Debbie, I got one more thing. Mr. Rowland read a lot of, hold on just a second. Hold on just a second.
Listen.
Mr. Rowland read a list of allegations.
Yes. that's
I
what-
want to be clear that y'all understand the law, because I don't think you do. I mean, y'all are all fresh. Every single board member in here has never served on the election commission. How many of you have worked as poll workers? 2 of you?
I've never been.
A machine tech.
Machine tech. You know what I'm saying? So as far as the functions of this office, y'all got a little bit of catching up to do. But I want y'all to understand the provisional ballot deal, because that's what your husband has made such a huge deal about on Facebook, saying that I've thrown votes in the garbage and all that stuff. Have you read the law? Do you understand how a provisional ballot is counted or not counted? I'm asking you a specific question.
My husband has nothing to do with the businesses being conducted here.
That's
okay?
all I'm saying about
that. Listen, there was a show cause hearing. It was almost 4 hours long, which I went to. I'm going to read this
Do you
letter.
understand?
I know what a provisional ballot is.
Do you
I'm
underst-
not going to debate with you.
Well, I
But
want you.
you appeared at the show cause hearing. It was almost 4 hours long. You and Dr. Shannon represented you. You could produce any evidence. This is not a court of law. Your fight
Hold on
is
just a
with the
second.
State Election Commission.
I want y'all to understand though,
Mark,
a provisional,
I insist that you not interrupt her.
a provisional
when she's
ballot,
wow.
and the way it's counted. Mr. Shannon, what was your first thing on the provisional ballot when you was defending me? They said that I illegally advised my board. Well, and if you look in the law, it says I am to advise my board. So how could it be illegal for me to advise the board? That's the first thing. If I illegally advised the board, so did Mark Goins. If you do that way, because the letter he gave me says, we cannot confirm that this person has attempted to register, but go ahead and count the votes. How is he telling the provisional counting board to count a vote when it's only the provisional counting board that has the authority under law
That's right.
to count a vote? I have nothing to do with counting provisional. I have nothing to do with that. You guys will be the provisional counting board. Are y'all gonna let Mark Goins tell y'all how to follow the law, even if he says something against the law? The board, on that particular one, we've been doing this for almost 40
Mark,
elections. Listen, let me say something.
I understand. I've
We-
allowed you to say something.
Well, let me finish.
We were
Okay.
advised.
Please
to
let
not
me
use
finish what I'm
the
saying.
today.
Please let me finish. Don't interrupt me. You're trying to make me lose my train of
Listen.
thought.
Well,
Okay.
you need to,
All
because
right.
you've spoken all
Okay,
morning.
Mark, when you get done, okay. then
Listen, we're
Go
talking
ahead, go
we're
ahead
talking
and
about a
finish your
man's
thought.
career here. At
Go-
least hear him out.
I have.
Because I think y'all have made
have.
y'all's decision
I have.
without even knowing the law.
I have, go ahead.
A
Mark.
provisional ballot is simply this: somebody that's not registered in Benton County. So if they're not registered, they're not in the book, they're not in our computer, we let them vote provisional. There's a procedure for that. The poll workers call this office, we look them up, we can't find them, we walk them through the process. Their ballot is put in a box that's completely separate from all the other votes. When they bring those boxes in on election night, the board takes those provisional ballots out, the counting board. They give me the social, birth date, and name of the person. I send it to the state. I give it to Scott. Scott comes in here and looks through the files to see if we have a deficient form on that person, because they could have filled one out and not signed it, not put their social. But that is an attempt to register. So we look through our files to see if that person has attempted to register. We give that information to the state. They check 8 or 9 different agencies. And historically, every single time, they send us back documentation from each one of those things. If there's a form filled out and the agency didn't get it to us, the board will look at that and say, this person attempted to register, we've got to count that vote. I don't do that. The board does that. So how can I be held accountable for what they do? But in this particular case, and I'll tell you what was going on, in Shelby County there was a lawsuit. They was letting, but by judge order, they was letting anybody that was a provisional voter vote on a machine. In other words, they weren't a provisional voter because their vote was counting even though they hadn't attempted to register. So I think that Mr. Goins was caught up in that lawsuit and really not wanting another lawsuit. I don't know. I don't know why. But in this particular case, that person had not attempted to register. There was no card on them. He sent the thing and said, we can't confirm that they've attempted to register. We couldn't confirm they attempted to register through our files. So the board asked me what they thought I should do, or they do. I looked up the law, handed it to them. They read the law. They said, well, without an attempt, we can't count this. That's the reason that wasn't counted. And it was not me. So to hold me accountable for something that the board was doing their job. But they took an exception to the letter from the state. And in that meeting, when they did it, they said, I want you to go to the state. And I want you to ask if they've changed the law. Do we have same-day registration? Why would they tell us to count this when clearly this person hadn't attempted to register? And what I asked at the state, well, I said I advised my county board by law that they probably shouldn't count that provisional. Of course, it's their decision to make, just like he had advised them to count it. But the voter, he had advised the provisional county board not count the vote, who had attempted to register to vote and vote on election day. He had registered that day because he fills out the form for us. That was my question to the state. And all they did is printed off a list of the provisional voting rules and send to my commission, or to me. They would not address it. They wouldn't answer the question. But I really think it was a knee-jerk email because I called Cliff Rogers in Knox County. I figured they have a lot of provisionals. He's a lawyer. He's an administrator. And I asked him, I said, Cliff, have they ever told you to count a provisional or not count a provisional? He said, no, they're not the counting board. They've never told me to count one or not count them. They just give me the facts. And the counting board decides what is counted and what is not. So I want y'all to dig into this stuff and understand this is a hack job. All this stuff, y'all been given this stuff, and if you believe what they said, they didn't even go into any issue whatsoever in that hearing. They didn't look at any of the evidence. I got sworn affidavits from 40 people that are Democrats and Republicans to say all this. Past commissioners, how we do it, our job, how we do the provisionals, how we choose Democrats and Republicans. I mean, we've done it right. And for them to say this stuff, they didn't even talk about it. They didn't even look at the stuff we had. They didn't even use that. All this hoopla that they were giving you, they didn't even look at it. They was there to vote to decertify me. They didn't rule on any of those 6 charges. They just voted to decertify me.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
And this letter,
Thank you for hearing
you
me.
know, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, for the indulgence.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair, may I address you, please?
We're gonna have to know.
Yeah, 2 minutes, please, Van.
Well, as a former commissioner, I note that I was here for all of this. Okay, no offense, none of you current commissioners were here. I was here. I can vouch for everything that Mr. Ward has said. This is to be viewed correctly as a hostile takeover of our election process. And the state of Tennessee is taking over our election process, which has been ran very effectively and fairly by citizens of Benton County.
Amen.
But all 4 of you need to understand whether you were, you just now said that you weren't asked when our representative asked you, were you asked, would you make a commitment to remove Mr. Ward? That's why you're here though,
No,
because
sir.
Russell King and Cindy Wheatley were asked.
I was not asked.
They were asked, and
Nobody.
they said,
By
no, Mr.
nobody.
Ward, these Democrats said, Mr. Ward, the Republican, is doing such a good job that we will not go up to replace him. And they said, well, we don't need you on the board anymore. Because we're going to get us some Democrats
Who got them off the board?
the State Election Commission.
we're gonna get us some Democrats that vote to remove him.
Gary Key and Mayor Lash is the one that had the biggest hand in it.
Okay,
In my
I
opinion.
think you give them too
I
much
was
credit as
never
local.
asked.
Okay, you made that point, but that's why you're here, Madam Chairman.
No,
That's
sir,
why
I'm
you're
here to
here.
follow the law.
That's why you're here.
No, it is not.
Yes, there were no complaints about the way the commission was operating before. You've
Yes,
impugned
you
all of our
just-
integrity.
You
You've
just.
attacked Jim
there
Austin,
was.
you've attacked
I
Russell
have
King.
not attacked anyone.
By doing what you're doing, you have.
Absolutely.
But
You have.
I believe that Mr. Griffey just spoke and said that you got a call from the SEC 2 years ago. Is that not what I just heard you state? Okay, 2 years ago, before I was ever asked about serving on this board or even thought about serving on this
They
board.
wanted to try to remove Mark Ward.
On what basis?
If you want to know the basis, I had a discussion with the former state election commissioner and goes, Mr. Griffey, Mark Ward treats Mark Goins like, blank in public. That's the problem. I said, well, is he doing a good job for Benton County is an issue for me. And he could not respond to that.
What, so you
So,
didn't get
and
any
he resigned.
complaints? You weren't notified of any complaints in that office?
No, I've been on no
There
complaints
been none.
against Mark Ward other
There been
than
none.
from the state election commission office. And essentially, I believe it's Mark Goins.
Okay.
Y'all have a job to do.
Did
Yes,
you
we do.
not,
I expect
you'll
did
probably
you
do
not
it
go
today.
to Washington
Follow the
D.C.
law.
also to try
Hey,
to
let me
overturn the
say one more thing,
presidential
Debbie.
election? Did you accompany Mark
Somebody's
Ward to Washington D.C.?
I have. Mark, I have.
Okay, let me say this one
I've
thing.
been more than fair, I have.
That is absolutely not.
You didn't go to Washington D.C. You didn't go to Washington D.C. and go to the Capitol.
He's
was
not,
an election
he's not an
commissioner.
AOE, but
He was
he's
a
a Republican
commissioner.
member of the election
It doesn't
commission
matter.
appointed.
Doesn't
Yes, it
matter.
does.
No, it
It
doesn't.
does.
Let me
How do you
say-
expect the Democratic voters to come in here when you have got an administrator and someone on the commission?
So y'all would
that
never
try
go to
to
Hillary
over-
Clinton rally or Joe Biden rally or something like that?
Listen,
I won't.
listen,
As long
this
as I'm
is
on the
completely
Yeah, that don't have anything to do
getting
with it.
out of hand. I am going to allow Mark Ward to finish his thought, and then we are moving on to the next item of business. I believe that I've been very patient. I have allowed y'all to speak. I've allowed y'all to yell, clap. So I'm going to allow Mark Ward to address us. I'm not taking any questions. You're the whole thing, your whole complaint and everything, your grievances are against the State Election Commission. They're the ones that certified Mr. Ward. Not me, not any member of this board. Okay? The letter says, that's dated June the 15th that I got in the email. It says, it's addressed to Rose Case, the director, the Physical and Administrative Services Division. It says, revocation of certification of Mark Ward, Benton County Administrator of Elections. It says, Dear Director Case, based on evidence presented in a show cause hearing on Monday, June the 14th, the State Election Commission voted to revoke the certification of Mark Ward, the Administrator of Elections in Benton County, pursuant to TCA Code 2-11-202 A18C. Upon the revocation of the certification, the payments under TCA 2-12-209 to Benton County must terminate. As a result of the revocation of the certification, Mr. Ward is no longer entitled to receive a base minimum salary outlined in TCA 2-12-208. The Benton County Election Commission members are authorized to set Mr. Ward's salary at a rate that they consider reasonable. And it is signed by Mark Goins, and there is a copy sent to Sherry Beasley, the trustee of the Benton County Election Commission.
So do you take that as that they just want me to stay, but they let y'all set my salary now?
That's what it says.
Did you know they do that in Williamson County and that guy?
Mark,
No,
I'm
let
not
me-
going to
let me say-
debate. I have
let me
let
say
you
something.
speak.
Let me say something.
Okay, go
Did
ahead.
you know that the guy in Williamson County, it's either Williamson or Davidson, he came in as their administrator, and they asked him to get certified, and he said he wasn't interested. And they said, well, it's gonna cost you $18,000 a year in your salary. And he said, I don't care. The county commission voted to give him the full amount because he was doing a good job and they liked him. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about, what were we talking about?
I'm talking about the state decertifying.
No,
that-
before that, when we were talking, when I was asking you if I could speak.
I don't know, because you and I wasn't speaking at the time, so.
I was trying to.
Okay.
Yeah, you were talking about me.
No.
Yeah, you mentioned me, so I thought I'd come see
Let me
you.
see. Let me see.
Okay.
Hold on.
You brought me up. You didn't talk as much as you're here.
We want to, can I make a motion that we end the public speaking at this point? We're going against the state's advice
Okay,
and entertaining
wait,
this.
okay, Mark, I'm gonna end.
Hold on just a second, I got one more thing.
You talked enough.
You need to make it very
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be right
Don't
back.
become rowdy.
Christian, fine, upstanding Christian.
Madam Chairwoman, you done let him intervene and everything?
Got a motion before you.
You gotta have a second.
All right, y'all just go ahead, you get your.
We're
Okay,
going
what-
against the state advice on entertaining this much talking, because you talked already. You talked in April, we had drama, get to the courthouse. It wasn't on the agenda to vote Mark Ward out. Pressure got terrible. Some of us resigned on the same day, and it came up again in May. Get to the election office, we don't know what they're gonna do. And this is the third meeting of drama, and we have been advised not to hear you all, and we've heard enough.
This,
What do you mean you've been
everybody
advised not to
had,
hear us?
everybody.
Me jumping toward the public isn't part of the rules of order.
What does she mean by
Everybody had a chance, Mark,
Who
the
have you
show
been
house
advised
people.
to not let us speak? Well, you just said you was
Mark,
advised to not let us
I
speak.
have the minutes to work the clerk's office. I have no idea about the minutes in your file. But according to Wanda Malin and the minutes that were filed, y'all never, the previous board never opened the floor to the public. Why? Why wasn't there any public there? You know what? And that's when, you know what?
Somebody gonna tap on her shoulder and yell at her.
Because of the simple fact that you didn't want to get involved. You trusted who?
Doesn't make any difference.
Because the evidence, thank you, I understand, I know who you are, okay? All right, we're moving on to the next thing of our agenda.
Just defend the
Chairman of the
You
party.
were, okay, all right,
So now,
okay, please,
I'll
listen,
make a motion.
listen. There will be order. I don't want people yelling, having conversations amongst themselves, belittling people, anything like that. I don't care who it is. The next order of agenda.
Motion to replace the current election administrator.
Well, let me read it. Vote on retaining or replacing the administrator of elections. Okay. I will entertain a motion to retain or replace.
Motion to retain or replace the current.
Okay,
election
so which one do you want to do? Retain or replace?
Did I get a second?
No, I'm asking, do you want to keep him or do you want to replace him?
Replace.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to replace by Gina Beasley. I have a second by Janet Higdon. And this will have to be a roll call vote. And you'll need to call the roll.
We can't hear you.
Okay, roll call vote. This is to replace or retain the election
Well,
administrator.
you're saying, no, it has to be replace or retain.
Or to replace. Motion to replace.
This is a motion to replace the election administrator. I have a motion on the floor by Gina Beasley,
Mark Ward.
seconded by Janet Higdon.
What'd you say?
Okay, now we're gonna have a roll call vote. Okay,
Yes.
all right, I'll call the roll. Okay, Gina Beasley, Stanley Rowland,
Okay, I'll say that
No.
right now. Okay.
Janet
Hey,
Higdon,
do you wanna say that out loud?
Debbie Kyle, yes.
Okay, all right.
I can't hear you guys.
Can't hear you.
Hey,
We need to
hear
Debbie,
the votes.
that was the court clerk's office, and she said that they did not say that that was the only minutes in the courthouse. You were told that the other ones were in the mayor's office, and she didn't let you. I'm just saying, she's an elected official, and this is being put out publicly, and she wanted to set the record straight.
Okay, all right.
I'm just.
Can y'all hear out there? Listen, stop. stop. Can y'all hear? Can y'all hear out there?
No, we cannot.
Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Joe. Okay, listen. Can y'all hear me? Okay. There was a meeting, a motion, there was a motion by Gina Beasley, seconded by Janet Higdon, to replace Mark Ward. Roll call vote. Gina Beasley said yes. Janet Higdon said yes. Stanley Rowland said no. And I said yes.
Because somebody told you to.
Yeah. No, sir. Okay, so motion carried.
Thanks for
All right.
For your information,
Let me tell you.
I never was asked to vote
If you have to
against
show
him.
us a little epiphany or an elephant, get the epiphany.
I have a motion to
I would
adjourn.
not have been allowed to serve on the board.
I have a motion to adjourn. I need a motion to adjourn. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Can I have a motion?
Folks don't leave just.
Motion by Janet Higdon to adjourn. Second by Gina Beasley. Has to be a roll call vote. Janet Higdon.
Yes.
Gina Beasley.
Yes.
Stanley Rowland.
Thanks.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Or the roll call vote. Debbie Kyle, yes. Motion is adjourned. Meeting is adjourned.
We want Ward! 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 We want Ward!
Your case is with the State Election Commission. Your case is with the State Election Commission, not with this board. I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying, you need to take this up with the State Election Commission.
The state election commission just took over in
Folks, we've only started.
Just saying.
We're gonna get rid of these people, will be here 2 years maximum. I said, we're gonna organize, we're gonna change out Mark Owens, we're gonna do a lot of things, help everything out.
Got fired. They were signed up for Bridgeport, and they hadn't been working since 2010.
I was afraid of who would replace him.
Hey, Mark.
Can you come see them in a few minutes when this crowd clears out? Oh, ma'am, Sheriff. Just let them clear out and then we will.